In today's video, I'm going to show you an affordable watch that's full of history. And what's even better, the watch looks really awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, you'll learn the history of the Paradive. Greetings and complications, my dear friends. Welcome to another video on our channel. You're watching GMT Menos 3, the channel that makes complications simple. Like this video, leave a comment and subscribe if you haven't already. Come be a part of our family. In today's video, I want to tell you a cool story, and I brought a watch. This little watch here I found on AliExpress. It's very similar to the original Paradive, but after all, Leandro, what's this story about the Paradive? To explain the story of this watch to you, we need to go back more than 100 years. Back in 1921, when Benrus started making watches. This is an American brand and it still exists today. And it started in 1921 with the work of four brothers. In fact, Benrus is an acronym. The acronym comes from one of these brothers, Benjamin Lazarus. Benrus, that's where the name comes from. They were Romanian. They started in 1921 and the brand was a huge success. However, around the 1950s and 1960s, they started releasing several models and ended up losing their way. What saved Benrus was in the 1970s when they signed a contract with the government, the American government, to produce watches. At that time, when the Vietnam conflict was beginning, a purchase order MILW 5717 was issued. At that time, we had several watches built to the so-called mil-spec standards, right? Military specifications. Watches that were produced to meet military specifications. It was the peak year of the Submariner mil-spec. We had the Blancpain, the 50 Fathoms, we had the Tourniquet Rayville. I've already done a review showing the TR900, which was a copy of the model from that time, from the Vietnam era, which was the TR660. And we also had the Paradive, which was produced with these specifications. What were these watches intended for? The American government issued this purchase order because they needed to provide watches for their divers. So the Paradive is considered a field watch for divers. And there were very few units that used this watch. In fact, it was a badge, a way for the guys to identify themselves. One reason this watch became so popular was that the guy, was wearing it there. People would look and say, man, this guy belongs to a special unit because he's wearing a very limited edition watch. The Paradive was made in two versions. Type 1, which is the one you're seeing here, its main difference is the round-shaped markers. And the Type 2, which is what we're going to check out in today's video. It's a reference and homage to this watch, the Type 2. Main features of the Type 2 compared to the Type 1. The small 24-hour clock and the Arabic numerals, those are the main differences. The company that made this watch was Benrus, and they still produce this watch to this day. In fact, if you want the original model made by Benrus, you can get it for around $1,700 or $1,800 abroad. But it wasn't just Benrus, no. Right after the period when Benrus was producing it, other brands decided to make it as well. Tourniquet Rayville itself has this Paradive model, and there's another one, MK also makes this model, the Paradive. And today we're going to check out a watch that has all these features of the Paradive, but it's made by Watch Dives. Check out the presentation. It's that typical watch presentation we see on AliExpress, but we're going to check it out together here. Let's take a look at the Paradive by Watch Dives. It comes with this little box, this thing here that doesn't do anything, and this little tool here that's only good for scratching your watch. But here's the good stuff, man. Here's the good stuff, and I really like this style of watch made by Watch Dives. Check out this beauty, man. The watch is really awesome. Why did I choose this exact model from Watch Dives? When I was researching which one to buy to show you, Watch Dives makes two styles, Type 1 and Type 2. But their Type 1 has the Watch Dives logo, and I didn't like it. I preferred this type too because its dial is sterile, meaning it doesn't have any branding, no markings at all. Which is exactly the reference that Benrus had when they started producing their watches under those military specifications. Like I said, right? The American government requested it for both the Army and the Navy. Since the Navy SEALs, who at that time were known as UDTs, Underwater Demolition Team, belonged and still belong to the Navy to this day. It's an extremely rare watch to find. Extremely rare, extremely expensive if you manage to get your hands on one. The original one, of course, that's what I'm talking about. Because they were produced in very limited quantities. The Type 2 edition, just so you know, which was more successful, only had 16,000 watches made. But anyway, they were produced by Benrus, right, throughout that decade, which of course makes this watch quite rare for you to find. I saw one for sale. It was around, I think it was around 5,000 or 6,000 reais. It's not like, oh my God, that's so expensive. But you can find it if you search and have patience, if you have the time, right? In that search, you can find a Benrus from that era. The main features that that model has, I'm not sure if this one here will have. First, the spring bar was fixed. And I don't believe this one is, because it ends up making the cost higher, right? For you to purchase the watch. Shall we take a look? I like this NATO strap. It's really good, especially if we take into account the price of the watch. And of course, I'll tell you its price only at the end so you can watch the whole video. And yeah, it's not fixed, man. If it were fixed, it would be awesome, damn. But it would cost more, right? I liked it. I really liked it a lot. The watch is very true to the Paradive. Except, you know, for this feature of not being fixed. The bezel on the original Benrus model was bidirectional. I believe this one is going to be unidirectional. In fact, it only turns one way. And here we have this bezel with an aluminum insert, just like the original Benrus. The markings here, minute by minute for the first 20 minutes, helped the divers, the Navy SEALs, to make their decompression stops when they were returning to the surface. That's the purpose of these minute by minute markings here. Some watches have 15 minutes, others have 20 minutes. But anyway, that's the main purpose of this minute by minute marking. Sterile dial, there's nothing written here. I thought it was really cool. In other words, when you buy this watch here, you know, if you're wearing the original Benrus, if you're wearing a reissue of the Benrus, if you're wearing an MK2, well, actually the MK2 has this feature. And the MK2, you'll also find it there for around $1,700 to $1,800 abroad. Very similar. The price is very close to the original Benrus. I really like this watch. It has all these features. If you pay attention to its case shape, it's asymmetrical. Here, on the left side, it's very close to the bezel. And on the right side, you have this whole elongated surface, right? It doesn't have that crown guard. The entire right side ends up becoming the crown guard. And the watch gets this really cool military look, man. I found this watch really solid for the price. We have the same features. The original watch was also sandblasted, right? Since we're talking about a military watch, the less it reflects, the better. This little guy here has that feature too. And it's really cool, man, really cool. Leandro, what's the size of this watch? This little guy here is 40.9 millimeters wide, 46 from lug to lug. It's 11.2 in height, and it has a 22 millimeter strap. Really cool, man. I don't know how long the lume on this watch will last, right? I haven't tested that yet, but anyway, you can check it out in the dark. Really solid watch, man. Really cool. It has this sapphire crystal, okay? With anti-reflective coating on the inside. Leandro, what's the movement in this watch? Here we don't have a mechanical or automatic movement. We have a quartz movement. But it has a really interesting feature. If you pay attention to the minute hand, the movement is almost continuous. It pulses 4 times per second. There, starting from a mechanical watch with 18,000 vibrations per hour, it will oscillate 8 times per second. Here we have 4 times per second, even though it's a watch, because here we have a sweeping movement, the VH31. Here we have a battery-powered watch, which references the Paradive. Shall we take a look, man? I'm really curious to take a look here. Let's use my ball, a minha bola, to check out what we have here. This little guy here, it has water resistance to 150 meters. And here you can check out the quartz movement. You see there, this one is the VH31. You have it written there, TMI, which is a company that's part of the Seiko group. Japanese movement, Japanese battery too. Look, man, let me tell you something. An excellent watch for what it costs. You checked out the history of the watch, right? Some military personnel use this watch with a NATO strap and a compass attached to the strap. Man, it looked really badass, man. This watch is really cool, man. But look, I want to show you in this series more affordable watches. Watches that are worth investing in and paying the price they're asking for, even with the taxes. And it's really worth it, man. 610 reais for this watch. It has all that military history, all that vintage vibe, that Vietnam vibe. It's a watch that has all that pedigree. It looks really nice, right? It looks really cool. It's a tactical watch, a watch that's gonna have, right? It has all that military inspiration. So it's a watch that doesn't shine. It's a watch with a very well sandblasted case here. The finish is really nice. It's a watch with a sapphire crystal, Japanese movement, Japanese battery. Its crown screw down crown, protected by a beautiful guard. Man, 600 rays of pure joy you have here, man. This watch is really cool, man. Its military vibe is really cool, man. Super awesome. You checked out the story of the Paradive here, a classic from Benrus and a more affordable option produced here by our dear friends at Watchdive. You can find the link to get yours. I really hope you enjoyed this video. May God continue to bless you more and more. And of course, I'll see you soon in our next video. The Brazil Watch Show is coming, my brother.